Hello there, folks. Hi there. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself. Look, I have just decided just to get. This is very short notice, so forgive me, guys. I just wanted to kind of quickly get in there and to respond to some stories. So, of course, whoever can join me this evening, I thank you very much, and I really appreciate it, because I've only given you guys half an hour notice, and I barely just had enough time to actually iron my own shirt and actually talk with you guys today. Oh, but you're coming in, which is great. Who do we have here? We've got Patricia Tyree. We have got who else? We've got Joe Benson, June Jackson, Julie P, Sunny Intuition, Lena Murdoch, and more of you coming in. So thank you guys for joining me this evening. Okay, let's just get stuck in. And I keep saying stuck in or dive in. You know what I mean. We need to talk about what interesting times we are in. Hey, everyone, what interesting times that we're in. It is the news gets more and more incredulous by the day. Now, as we know, we have the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, and of course, if you guys have got any questions at all, I'm going to try and keep an eye on the feed. I'm watching the feed as you're all coming in, and I will try and answer your questions. So, of course, we have the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. But what has just broken on UK news? Literally, I was just watching a bit of Sky News, because, of course, I watch American news, UK news, and other international stuff. And what they've just broken, maybe this is on the USA news as well. They said the peacekeeping delegation that went to on the Ukraine, wanting to negotiate, of course, with Russia to try and bring peace and stuff like that. They've just revealed on the news that those people said they were poisoned, chemically poisoned. Can you believe it? They said they had streaming eyes, peeling skin on the hands and face, apparently, and also as well the Roman Abramovich, who is supposed to be, of course, one of the big friends of Vladimir Putin, famously owned Chelsea Football Club, has returned to Russia, and it seems like he was part of that delegation, and they're saying he was poisoned as well. Now, they're obviously still alive, but oh my goodness, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. And then, of course, we have to talk a little bit about Will Smith and whatever else is on our minds, because doesn't it feel like so much is happening in the world right now? It's just extraordinary. So yes, Susan Courtney's saying, wow, poisoned. Yeah, this story broke about half an hour ago. I literally saw it about half an hour ago, and it broke on UK Sky News. And I just felt like we should pull some cards on that, see what's going on, and also come on here as well and answer some of your questions live. So literally, this is by the seat of the pants stuff here. I wasn't intending to come on today, but I just felt like I had to have a chat. So thank you, Sunny Intuition, for joining. Sharon Saipe, Patricia Tyree, who else? Nicolette Smith. We've got Dragon Rising 11. Here we are. So look, here's a question here. We'll talk about the poisoning, but this is actually a very good question. So as you can see here, could you verify or debunk all the hype around April 4th? Okay, so why and that question came from where I put up on the screen, Dragon Rising 11. Okay. Why are so many people talking about April 4th? The reason why so many people are talking about April 4th is because in Vedic astrology, but also in Western astrology, on that day, planet Saturn and planet Mars come together at the same degree. They're going to come together at the same degree. In Western tropical astrology, they're going to be coming together in Aquarius. But of course, I do Vedic astrology, and us Vedic astrologers are talking about 28 degrees of sidereal Capricorn. So why is there so much hoo-ha about this? Historically, when Saturn and Mars have come together, this has been times for where there's been great conflict or tumult in the world. There can be things, it can be literally quite a destructive combination. Because why? These two planets, they are both what is called malefics. Yeah, so it means they're both kind of cruel planets. Yeah. And there have been times there have been troubles with delays, conflicts, etc., and stuff like that. Now, what I want to add is there has been a lot of quite doomsday predictions, as many of you will have seen. And as you know, I'm not the biggest fan of these kind of quite apocalyptic predictions because they're not always helpful. They can actually frighten people a lot. But this conjunction is significant. So what I want to say is 28 degrees of sidereal Capricorn is the exact exaltation point of Mars. Yeah. So even though Mars is known as the planet of war, conflict, you know, like what we're seeing in Ukraine, we can see those energies, of course, playing out, and it's horrific. You know, it is absolutely terrible. But when a planet is exalted, it means it has its highest capabilities. So as much as there is this war and conflict, Mars in its highest capacity is a great strategist, a great logician, and also gives people the courage and the power to do the right thing. So as you would have seen, many of you watch my channel, I've actually modulated, you know, I've never came out with the doomsday stuff anyway, but when I looked at this, yes, we are dealing with war and conflict, but people will feel motivated to do the right thing. A lot of people are going to stand up for righteousness and correct and moral behavior. Yeah. Even though we're in the middle of the world is in the midst of war and cyber stuff and people acting out, the higher energies of Mars will also be present as well. And we can also see this too with Saturn. Saturn is the planet of government, rules, regulations, restrictions. Saturn is very strong. And we see lots of sanctions being placed on, you know, people and stuff like that. So I hope that answers the question. I want to believe it in the higher energies that are coming through, particularly when Jupiter and Neptune come together later on in April from 13th, well, from the middle of April, they'll both be together in Pisces. So I hope that answers your question. Any other questions, anyone here? Let's see here. Who else do we have? We've got Susan Courtney, Lynn Streeter. Everyone's saying hello to everyone. JB is saying, yes, it feels like a lot is happening. A lot is happening. Do you remember, guys, when I was in my 2022 predictions? And do you remember I said we're going to be in the Kala Sarpa Yoga from December 2021 at that point, all the way up until April, so towards the end of April 2022. And do you remember I said it's going to be crazy? We're just going to see weird stuff. Darren here is saying like April is looking like a roller coaster. There's just so much going on. Okay. The questions come in here from Rebecca Mercer. So what she said, oh, here we go. So Rebecca, question, will Ukraine get the jets they need soon to close their own airways? Brilliant question. I've been thinking the exact same thing. So what I'm going to do is, let's pull some cards. Let's pull some cards on that. I'm gonna use two decks today. I'm gonna use my my Bianco Nero deck, which you guys have seen. Bit too much glare there, and of course, good old-fashioned Rider-Waite All right, let's answer your question. Great question. Will Ukraine get the jets they need? Let's just do this. I've not done a live for a while actually, so it's kind of cool. So so you can see my hands a bit. All right. So will Ukraine get the jets they need? Sorry, my head's slightly cut off there. Will Ukraine get the jets they need? All right, as you know, I'm going to pick 5 cards. Let's bring the camera down. Will Ukraine get the jets that they need? Ukraine get the jets that they need. Will Ukraine the jets that they need? All right, let's have a look. Let's have a look, guys. Let's see what the cards are saying. Okay. All right. So, will Ukraine get the jets that they need? Great question. And that's coming from Rebecca. So the card that I get here, the first card that I get, look, it's the Fool. Yeah. So what's the Fool? What's the Fool all about? We know the Fool is about new beginnings, starting afresh. Let me turn down my fan a little bit because I was a little bit warm. About new beginnings, fresh start. It represents the start of a cycle, and it has a kind of a youthful enthusiasm to it. So in many ways, if we were to think of President Zelenskyy, this in many ways represents his request to the outside world in order to give Ukraine a kind of like a fresh start, an upper hand in their conflict, of course, with Russia. But what's the obstacle? If we look here, the obstacle here is temperance. Now, temperance, of course, is about what? Temperance is about balance. It's about alchemy and chemistry, and it's actually a very positive card. But it's turned up in the obstacle position. So although Zelenskyy or Ukraine wants a fresh start in regards and to take this leap of faith in regards to the conflict with Russia, it seems the outside world doesn't quite want to give them what is that they need. Now we know that he's been asking for to close the air, etc., and stuff like that. But we can see here the world, other people involved in this decision making, they're not so sure. Here's Ukraine defending itself, quite literally, as we know. Ukraine is here defending itself against the attack bravely. Fiercely, as we know, Vlad has miscalculated and he's really showing all of his evil colors. But this is about standing, fighting your ground, especially in this context. Here, the Ukraine, I can't say the Ukraine, yeah? Ukraine and the world, it's like it's become this balancing act. It's like it's become this balancing act and this kind of subtle power game in a way, if you know what I mean. Because if we look here, Ukraine wants to change the balance of the war. Russia wants to change the balance of the war. The international community doesn't want to tip the balance the wrong way. Do you see what I mean? We can actually read this card in 3 different interpretations. So it shows that those that are making those decisions, if we look back at this temperance card, those that are making the decisions are not sure. Because look at both. Do you see? Both are about balancing things out. So I think there's a fear and there is a reticence about maybe going to that step to actually give Ukraine jets, because I think they're worried that things could escalate further. However, if we look here, it does look like Ukraine will have some kind of offer. Now, sometimes this can be interpreted as the false knight. However, it comes after, of course, this juggling card. So it could be on balance. Let me turn down my light a little bit. The exposure just is a little bit too bright here, reflecting off the cards. Sorry, let me just go down a couple of notches. So, but this could mean reflecting on balance that they need to actually give Ukraine some kind of meaningful offer. So it may not be jets, but I think it's going to be juicier stuff, much, much juicier stuff. So by default, in a way, the Ukrainians will be almost able to close the skies themselves. Does that make sense? So you could see, like, the people that have influence are still not sure about how far they want to go, of course, in their support for the Ukraine, but it does look like that they're getting something up. So I hope that answers your questions. Let's have another scroll through. Jenny W, yeah, saying new level of cray cray. Absolutely, I totally agree with you. And we kind of almost and JJ, yes, just too much going, too many bad things going on. This Kala Sarpa yoga is still going to last for a while. So let's just say Mercury is going to break it in, I think it's towards the end of April. But let's just say May, things should be a bit less intense in that form. Let's see. Yes, please. What's someone saying here? Yes, please pull cards. My poor tattered brain just can't get wrapped around this. I know, it's remarkable. Give me your thoughts as well, guys, on what you think of the whole Will Smith thing. I'm just want to know your thoughts on that, because I'm just like, what? Some are saying it was staged. But even if it was, really? You want to be kind of doing that, particularly in this time of conflict and war. And anyway, I want to know your thoughts. Okay, let's see. Some updates here. So Ola Sylvia 1. Apparently the chemicals could have been from burning war debris. But of course, we know nothing is beyond Putin. Who lives by poison dies by poison, as they say. Yes, I think the fact that it was actually reported on the mainstream news channel in the UK, and they said it was actually confirmed and verified. They said this actually happened when the delegation met the first time. So it was like, this was actually a few weeks ago, and it's only now the story is broken. So they've probably only broken the story once it could actually be verified, because of course that's an extraordinarily serious thing. And it's just, oh my goodness, it's just crazy. Great question here. So Hogarth, are you still planning to travel in April? Yes, I am. I will be going on some adventure. Great question. Thank you, Light Vocation. I will be going on some adventures, and I'm also going to be traveling around for parts of my trip with Lena Rodriguez, who, of course, dropped a few hints here and there. So there's going to be adventures in Spain, in Lisbon. I'm going to then be going off to Sicily, and then maybe joining Lena again in Greece, and then going up to Turin for Eurovision, which is this crazy song contest that everyone has in Europe every year. And it's happening in Turin, Italy this year. So I'll give you guys more details when... I mean, everything's pretty much confirmed now. I'm actually going to be booking a ticket tonight, but I'll let you guys know. And I will be doing videos, of course, from location, wherever I am. And that includes Hodeiga as well. Wherever I am, If I've got my internet connection, Hidayah will be there. So sometimes you might see me by the side of the pool. You might see me in different environment, in different accommodation, different kind of things. So it should be a lot of fun, and I'll give you more details as things get closer. Okay. Thank you. Thank you there, Light Vocation, saying that you enjoyed the perspective on that date. Okay, I'm going to scroll down more and see what other questions you have, and of course, please give feedback on what are your thoughts of Will Smith and all this stuff. Nothing like taking it in. Ooh. So here, okay, so Jackie Hathaway, yep, this, as you can see there, Will and Chris was put on. Nothing like taking the attention away, taking attention off Ukraine on January 6th. I stand with Sean Penn. Yeah, for me, it's kind of, if it wasn't staged, it was an outrageous act. But given the context, given that the fact in some ways that it was staged, and I think it actually was on reflection, that just does not look good for the Academy, let alone the act itself. These are very serious times, and it shows a kind of a complete disconnect from reality. I'm sure you guys would agree with that perspective. Of course, I don't want to be too harsh, because this is, the Academy Awards are a very prestigious and world-renowned ceremony. It's the highest bastion of film. But in my personal reaction, I saw that as a bit of a degradation and completely and totally unnecessary at this stage in time. Even if it was a joke, it was a very, very crass one. And it's just not befitting of the times, and it seems completely tone deaf. And it's almost like quite a cynical move, because if it was planned, and I think it probably was, they would have had to have got clearance. Yeah, they would have had to got clearance from senior people within the Academy Award, shall we say, member for entertainment purposes only. And this idea perhaps was put forward, and someone must have signed that off and okayed it, because these are two professionals at the end of the day. And they wouldn't risk their careers, I would imagine, on a random act that could just ruin things. So that says to me there must have been some clearance on this, which in some ways makes it, I think, even more distasteful, because it's almost like, because there is such focus on Ukraine, perhaps there are some people who maybe wanted the attention not to be on Ukraine for a while. Anyway, but I don't want to say too much on that. You know what? I'm going to pull some cards. Let's pull some cards on the whole scenario. So let's pull cards on Chris Rock, Will Smith, and the Academy Awards management, because some people are saying it's staged. It did look a little bit staged. It doesn't excuse it, of course, though. It's extremely bad taste, but let's see what the cards have to say. All right, let's see what the cards have to say. Okay, the Academy Awards. What's the context situation for the Academy Awards? What's the context for the Academy Awards and that situation with Will Smith and Chris Brown? All right, let's see. Okay, this is interesting. So I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Thank you so much, everyone, by the way, for joining me. Look, it's a Monday, and there's a few hundred of you here. I'm really actually pleasantly surprised. All right. Now, this is quite interesting here. The card that comes up for the whole situation for the Academy Awards is quite interesting. We've got the Queen of Wands here, which of course can refer to a socialite, to an entrepreneurial woman. Yeah. And when we think who was the butt of this joke, it was Jada Smith, isn't it? Will Smith's wife, yeah, who could easily fit the connotations of this card. This is an extroverted character, someone who, you know, who's confident and is part of society and mixing and stuff like that. But also as well, let's not forget, wands, particularly the suit cards, wands have a lot to do with business. It's not only passion, but they've got a lot to do with business and entrepreneurialism and stuff like that. Yeah. This in some ways would potentially also be representing the Academy Awards itself. When we look at the obstacle, look, we see here Page of Swords. Now pages, let me just have a quick slurp, sorry. Now, as we know, pages are the younger or more immature court cards, yeah? So I'm trying to do light here. Let me just turn my camera. Sorry, the light's slightly off to the side, and that probably should help it a little bit. No, it doesn't. Sorry, guys, just slightly light balance issues here. Anyway, Page of Swords. Now, sometimes the Page of Swords can be referred to as a spy in the camp. Yeah. But also as well, sometimes it can deal with legal things, ramifications, or, you know, but can also speak about the sword of truth, etc. and stuff like that. But when I see this, for me, it's almost like, this is almost like the slap itself in a way. Because the swords are sharp. Yeah, swords are sharp. And the page of swords is can be quite an impetuous energy. And there is this, it's almost like there's this element there of petulance about it. You know, because swords, of course, can jab and stab and stuff like that. When we look here, we've got the King of Cups. Now, obviously, many people refer to this cup as King of Cups as Joe Biden, but of course, we're not talking about geopolitics, global politics so much in this. So, but this deals with a creative man, yeah, a man of the arts. So, of course, this could represent Will Smith himself, yeah. So if we see, we could look at it this way. This could be Will Smith's wife, an act, a bit of a spiteful act in regards to a creative man who's obviously, you know, this is a king card. Will Smith would very much fit that. But why? What's the context? Now, what I find interesting is this card here. Do we see we've got the two of wands here. And if we look, this card is very much about making plans and speculations in regards to the outside world. Now we know, and look, here we are, we can see it there. Now we know what has been predominantly in the headlines, of course, everything to do with Ukraine and stuff like that, which of course makes absolute sense. But in this context, could, you know, because many are saying that this thing was staged, which means it was what? Planned. And if it was planned, it was the idea perhaps was to capture a worldwide audience for that amount of time, particularly as well, pardon me, when we see that the outcome card is the Lovers. Now the Lovers is all about what? Contracts, making deals. This can actually have a lot to do with business, but it deals with relationships of all kinds, but it's got a lot to do with decision-making and contracts. So when I look at that in the round, what that says to me, I think it was staged and there was an agreement that they knew that this would make potentially global headlines, would be very controversial, because apparently they've been saying that the numbers year on year for the Oscars hasn't been doing well. And again, like I said, for entertainment purposes, and I want you guys to know this is no slur. I'm not trying to besmirch the Academy or anything like that, but we just have to talk about what's happened and what the cards are suggesting to me is that, yes, it was staged and it was done as something to grab the attention of the world, to be looking at the Oscars, and potentially for some kind of gain in terms of partnerships or other things in it that the lovers could suggest. Because it's all about, lovers has a lot to do with business as well, contracts and stuff like that. So I think it was a stunt, and it's something that should never be repeated again, because it really doesn't help. But what are your thoughts on that? Let's see here. Thank you, Laura, saying that it's great to see me. Thank you. I've not done a solo live in ages. Thanks so much. Sunny Intuition, special treat. Yeah, it's a treat for me as well. Thank you. Let's see here. Oh, so we've got another question that's come in, and let's see how I'm doing on time. Look at that, half an hour gone already. So this one here, will there be food shortages in Europe and the USA? Thank you. Oh, that is a great question. Okay, so let's set some context. Oh, thank you for the donation I've just seen here. Thank you, Sunny Intuition, for your donation. That's very kind of you. Okay, so let's rewind the tape a little bit, because as you know, I'm a Neo-Vedic astrologer, and you will remember, many of you will remember back in November when we had that lunar eclipse, which happened at the exact exaltation point of the moon, which is 3 degrees of sidereal Taurus. Do you remember that? And I said there will be issues to do with the Queen, because the moon also represents female leadership, matriarchs. And we've seen that she's had health issues. Barbados declared independence. Even Catherine and William's tour to Jamaica, had some controversial elements in regards to the Commonwealth. But I said a lot of this will be dealing with food. Do you remember? I said one of the things we're going to be talking about a lot is inflation. And this is something that we've seen, and it has been deeply uncomfortable to give you guys a perspective of what's happening in the UK, because obviously there's a lot of inflation everywhere. From the 1st of April, which is less than a week away, in the UK, gas and electricity bills are going to double. Yeah, you heard me right. Double, 50% more. And then they're saying they're going to go up again in October of 2022. So we've got something, we're calling it the cost of living crisis, but now it's actually just being called the cost of living emergency. So there are many people that are already choosing between heating or eating, which is what we've been discussing a lot in the UK. And they said it's going to get even worse. So let's just answer the question. Will there be food shortages in Europe and the USA? Let's have a look. I'm going to use my Bianco Nero deck for this. Let's get this one out here. It's good to have a little chop with other cards. All right. Will there be food shortages in Europe and the USA? Thank you again, Light Vocation, for that question. Thank you again as well for the donation. Let's have a look. All right, let's pull down. Right. Will there be food shortages in the USA and Europe? Let's see. All right, let's have a look. Let's do a quick turn over here. Oh, very interesting cards, guys. Very interesting cards. Okay. So so here I'll just put up the question again as I talk so everyone can see it for the benefit of the recording. All right, look, the first card I get here is the Six of Cups. Now, if we look here, oh crumbs, sorry, forgive the focusing here, but there we are. Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is all about what? Nostalgia. It's about family. It's about wanting to go back to the past in some kind of way. So here, straight away, we are seeing indications in regards to families. Yeah, families in the USA and, of course, in Europe and around the world. So there's that. Here, though, we have the Knight of Cups, who's come in the obstacle position. So what does that mean? So we know that the Knight of Cups, it deals with you know, the Knight of Cups, it deals with offers of all kinds. Sometimes it could be a good offer. Sometimes it could be a deal. Maybe that offer is not quite as great as one would expect. So it's come in the obstacle position. So what that says to me is that it's almost like this. It's like there's not going to be quite enough in terms of help or relief for families. Does that make sense? Because here, this is the card that can deal with family and nostalgia. And of course, we're all going to be wanting what? Prices to be where they were before in the past. No one wants to see their utility bills double like they are in the UK. Or, I mean, you guys have been in this, many of you will obviously been watching from the United States, but you watch all around the world. So again, thank you to all my international viewers and stuff like that. But some of you are talking about $6 or $7 for a loaf of bread, you know, stuff like that. And given how things are, looking at this so far, I can't see that improving immediately. Now, does it mean inflation? Does it mean inflation's going to be high forever? No, of course not. However, when we think of a lot of the inflation that we have was before the conflict, and Ukraine, you know, exports a lot of grain to the outside world. So we need to look at that. The next card I get here is the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles, which deals with study, effort, graft, wanting to be resourceful. So what this is saying is that we're all going to have to work quite hard, and countries are going to have to be quite resourceful in how they cultivate their food supplies, grain, etc. As we know, China's done a big stockpile, of course, probably in anticipation of a few things here and there. Like I said, for entertainment purposes only. But I already discussed this anyway. If we look here, people are going to want to go. This is the Six of Swords. People are going to want to go for smoother waters. Sorry again about the glare, but you know, there you are. Black and white cards. There we are. People are going to want to go to smoother waters. And then the outcome card I get here is the Eight of Cups, which of course is walking away from something. So it's kind of like, I think essentially what's going to happen is there are going to be issues, I think, with food supply chains, etc., and stuff like that. But a lot of effort is going to be put in to try and keep those channels open. Individual countries are going to have to work hard on their own supplies to keep their stuff open. Yeah. Which here is the Eight of Pentacles, in order to get to smoother waters. So, but then what this also says as well, there's almost like this walking away. I think there's even going to be an element of, I think some people are going to feel quite literally left behind when I look at that all together. Eventually inflation will come down, but I think there's going to be a lot of people, potentially a lot of families, that will feel left behind because they're not going to be pleased with the offerings that are coming towards them. I know that is certainly the case for the UK, but it could be even governments around the world. Their offers may not be satisfactory. So I hope that answers your question. All right, let's see who else is here. We've got sweet darling Lulu is in the room. LC, love my pups. What a great name. This is an unusual treat. Oh, thank you. I know I wasn't planning to come on. I just felt the impulse so strong. Oh, now sweet let's see. Great question. So sweet darling Lulu, you have asked, why should Zelenskyy believe Russia will follow through? Good question. Should Zelenskyy believe Russia? Of course not. Of course not. As you know, I've just come on now because, part of the Ukrainian delegation has just revealed that they've been, chemically poisoned, revealed on Sky News UK. I'll just put that in there. It may be breaking or not on USA News because, of course, there's a lot dealing with the controversy of the Oscars. Actually, how did Kristen Stewart do? Did she win? Did she win? Was she nominated? I saw her in Spencer and I thought she was excellent, but it may have fallen off the radar. Okay, so should Zelenskyy believe Russia will follow through? So let's pull on that. In fact, I'm going to go back to the Rider-Waite because you can see better with the lighting there. I need to make sure you can see me, of course, but then sometimes the cards reflect too much. All right. Zelenskyy and Russia. What's the energy around Zelenskyy and Russia? Let's move the camera down. Zelenskyy and Russia. What are the energies there? Negotiations. Zelenskyy and Russia. Zelenskyy and Russia. I knew it. I knew this. I had a feeling this card would come up. I knew it. I probably should have said that before. I was going to say, I bet the devil comes up. All right. So great question. Great question. So let's just remind ourselves here. So thank you, sweet darling Lulu. Love that name. Why should Zelenskyy believe Russia will follow through? So when I look at these cards here, so we're going to be looking at this, of course, from the perspective, as the question asked, Zelenskyy in terms of his views on Russia. Okay. Wow. There's a few of you here tonight. I'm really impressed. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you're enjoying the show. I hope you're enjoying the show. Okay, Zelenskyy here. As one would imagine, Zelensky's having to use all of his strength. Yeah, he is a strong man. He is a genuine one, not that strong man in that kind of dictator kind of way. Genuinely a strong man, and as many of you will know who have watched when I've done oh sorry, trying to show off my cufflinks there. I hope you like them. Look, you can see, look, they're little crowns. Actually, I should turn them around. I just thought I'd put them on for you guys. Anyway, never mind, distractions. So Zelenskyy is having to use his strength. He is remarkably strong. And for those of you that have seen my comparisons, feel free to look in my list where I compared, Vladimir Putin and Zelensky's chart. And what Putin has done inadvertently in trying to crush Zelenskyy, I said he's made what? A king. So literally here, this card is obviously very closely associated with Leo, because there's the lion. And of course, it's also about leadership and strength. So this is talking about Zelenskyy here. But look at the obstacle position. This is tremendous graft for him. We've seen the toll, haven't we? He's trying to defend his country. He's doing it very, very well as the Ukrainian people. Russia, well, Putin, who decided or basically just to do this on his own, was not expecting this level of resistance. But it shows that this is a very heavy burden for him, because he has to try and kind of balance this out, because obviously the longer things go on, the more destruction there could potentially be. So here, in many ways, look, here we are. We've got the Hierophant, which is talking about the government. So this literally can represent the government of Ukraine, but also as well the government of Russia. And in some ways, the next two cards actually talk, I think, more about Russia's position, believe it or not. So here is Zelenskyy being strong. He's carrying the burden, doing his best, but also let's not forget, Russia is burdened too. Here is the Hierophant, which is the card of governments, reflecting both governments. But look, this is where I think this is where things are going a bit pear-shaped for Russia. Look at the next card, Four of Pentacles. Now, remember, Five of Pentacles, pardon. Five of Pentacles, forgive me. Now, as you know, we've been talking about this quite a lot. And do you remember, as you know, I said, with these sanctions, Russians won't even be able to afford McDonald's. Yeah. And it turns out McDonald's has actually kind of pulled out. We'll have to see how long for, along with hundreds of other companies. But what I think is this: the longer this war goes on, the poorer Russia becomes. Yeah. The longer this war goes on, the poorer the Russian government becomes. We know that this, even though this also represents the Ukrainians, who, of course, many have had to flee and are now in difficult circumstances. But this is also speaking about the Russian government, because look, the Hierophant is here. And look at the outcome card. Look at there's over 400 of you just joined. This is amazing. Thank you, guys. Honestly, I really appreciate you guys joining in and asking me questions and stuff like that. So look, the outcome card for Russia is the Devil. So we know what's this. This is all kinds of sin, vice, skullduggery of all kinds. And as I was saying, you know, it's just been reported on the news that the Ukrainian delegation was saying that they were poisoned. Yeah, this is also reflecting the state of mind of Putin, and he is darkly obsessed. I had a dream actually just before the invasion started, and I probably should talk a bit more about my psychic impulses. I don't talk about them enough. I mean, 2 weeks before the invasion, I had a dream where I was woken up and I was told that there would be war in Europe. Literally, like the wind rattled my window. And then I also had a dream, I think a day or two before the invasion, where I saw Putin and he had given in to the dark. I was shown a matchstick breaking and then this shadow just flowing in and him just giving in to the dark. And in many ways, this card talks about this. Also, as well, as you know, when I was examining Putin's chart, there is that particular affinity in his chart, which is connected with poison, as I've been saying for a long time. And this delegation is just saying they were poisoned. All of a sudden, his Ministry of Defense person is having heart troubles. This guy is just literally just dripping where, you know, wherever he goes. I mean, it's just remarkable. And Putin's Pluto is Gandanta, which means drowning, and it's when it's going from a water sign into a fire sign, or fire sign into a water sign. That part, the last 2 degrees and the first 2 degrees of those signs, is called Gandanta, and it means karmic knot, and it can also mean drowning. So he's got his Pluto there, which is the dark night of the soul, which deals with everything, that all the darkness that a human being is capable of, drowning in that portion of sky. Now, Pluto can have a good side, which is alchemy and transformation, but most people go for the shadow, and that's in Putin's chart. So remember, I spoke about the poison, And here it is. Okay, so let's see who else. We've got Charlie Smith, who's been joining us here. Let's see here. Tasha Brown, Darren, Jenny W. I think I may have said your name already. Now, this is Glenna Miles. Let's see here. Well, let's see this question here. So Ukraine is at a do or die point. They are out of options for accepting Putin in any way, shape, or form to hold power over them. Ukraine's fight is just. Putin is having a tantrum. Yeah, absolutely. But one of epic proportions. Also, as well, if you guys look back in my back catalogue where I do the chart comparisons between Zelenskyy and Putin, this is not their first fight, by the way. Not their first fight. I've checked their charts and there's a karmic connection there, and Zelenskyy's Pluto falls right on top of Putin's Saturn in the 12th house. Anytime you have Pluto-Saturn combinations or planets conjunct Saturn, Saturn is the planet of karma, so it suggests past life connection. Pluto deals with power issues, power moves and controls. So for Zelensky's Pluto to be on top of Putin's Saturn with all those other planets, is Mercury, I think the Sun and Neptune, in the 12th house, which also deals with the past and past lives. This shows that they've been battling before, but this is their last battle. I can say that much. But it's not their first fight. Pardon me. In terms of their soul journeys, I could say that with quite a lot of confidence. There are just certain combinations that you see and you're like, yeah, that's it. Also as well, south node of the moon, Ketu, when that joins, that shows past life connection, and I think they've got that as well. Okay, Darren, I wonder when Putin gets cancelled in one way or another. Let's see. Someone was saying here, there we are. I won't repeat it, but I will just let that be put up there. Yeah, it's very unsavory. Very unsavory. Very unsavory. They'll be saying it wasn't staged. So again, so you see, the opinion is divided, isn't it? And that's why I thought we should discuss it, because I don't know, it's just very strange. It's very strange. Okay, so let's see here. So let's read this out. It's good to have the different opinions. So so ES says, proud of Will Smith defending his wife, but wished he only threatened to hit Chris Rock, but did not. Yeah, it just should not have happened. It should not have happened. I think we can all agree in that. It was not good taste. Muriel, thank you so much for your donation. I really appreciate that. Let's see here. Embarrassment could not have smacked the rock over and made it. Let's see. Should be, what's it? Will Smith should be held accountable, but nothing will happen since he has money and power. Yeah, of course, the family will rake in the bucks talking about all of their problems online. There's a certain thing, isn't there? Irrespective of if you are rich, famous, you are treated differently. It's as simple as that, isn't it? You are just treated differently, irrespective of your background, color, whatever. Once you're at a certain level, you sort of, I don't know, but it's great to read your thoughts. Exactly. Bluebird is saying, not cool. Hitting never solves anything. Okay. Any more questions? Any more questions that you guys want to know? We've got here reactions to Will Smith. Will Smith to turn in his tux and replace it with a hoodie and packages. What's it? When are the women of this planet going to be respected and not be the butt of people's jokes? Do you know what? That is a really good point. All connected. When are the women of this planet going to be respected and not the butt of people's jokes? So absolutely. I'm going to pull some cards on that, because it's vulgar and it's cheap and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. That's a very good question. because it shows an overall disrespect as well. It really does. And it's, you know, it's just not on. It's just not on. It's just not on. And also as well, when you think of the context, when is it? When now we know apparently she's got alopecia issues and stuff like that. But think of another scenario, very common, when women have to shave their heads, or people have to shave their heads. You know, often when they're recovering from something very severe, isn't it? So I don't want to put those aspersions, but you know what I mean. I just wish it hadn't happened. I wish it hadn't happened. Okay, so let's read on this energy around women being used as the butt of jokes. Oh, cardinally leapt out there. Let's have a look. Let's see when this culture will change. All right, when this culture will change. In some ways, one could argue maybe the whole incident will actually help change the culture, because it just wasn't good. Let's have a look. All right, let's have a look. See? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Queen of Pentacles will come up, which literally represents women. Very interesting. Okay. Very interesting. Thanks for your question. Look at the card that came up first. Literally, Queen of Cups. So as we can see, we're talking about what? Women in the context of, you know, being the butt of jokes, etc. and stuff like that. But also as well, Pentacles also, and this card in particular, has a lot to do with values. Has a lot to do with values and what we hold dear, what is worth. So what this card is saying in the context of the question, women's value needs to be appreciated. Yeah, needs to be appreciated, because that was the whole context of the question. And when women are start to be equally valued in public discourse, life, etc. I'm not saying that that hasn't happened in certain countries around the world, but we know there's still a lot of progress to be made. So how interesting. We can see here Spirit is listening in. The next card that comes out is Justice, but look, it's coming in the obstacle position. So as yet, there is not justice as yet in terms of parity and equality and stuff like that for women. However, things will be changing. Things will be changing. We can see here now, because we've seen this discourse that's going on, and a lot of people find it deeply untasteful. Yeah, but this shows that there's going to be an upswelling here where people are just like, you know what, we've had enough of this. Yeah, rushing forward. So this could also show as well, maybe justice itself could also be rushing forward. But look, Ace of Wands, a brand new start. Yeah. So, and this also as well is about entrepreneurialism, new ideas, fresh ideas. So there, I think what will happen is with time, attitudes will change. Attitudes will change because people are going to be wanting to see this new perspective. And let's not forget as well with this card, it's got the shoots here. Yeah, it's got the shoots of new growth, new opportunities. And then the outcome card is the Ace of, sorry, not the Ace, it is the Page of Pentacles. And all the pages are all about messages. And this card obviously can deal with money, but it has a lot to do with study, and it has a lot to do with the youth. So this is showing the younger generation is not going to be prepared to put up with this stuff, particularly with this card here, which deals with entrepreneurialism and business. So this will be young. We can see this as well as potentially as young business women and young men as well are going to respect the status of women a lot more. So it's almost like it will be the younger generation that is eventually going to basically grow out of this and take things forward. Well, look at that. Can you believe how quickly the time has gone? Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Almost up to an hour. I'll do my last little shout out. So Glenn and Miles, thank you. Will Smith was being histrionic. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it just baffles me, and I'm very disappointed. But we've had Bluebird, Debbie Pruski. We have got, Sunny Intuition saying, wow, I'm going to Lisbon. Yes, I am. Thank you. Sharon Saipe, Jennifer Bays, The Diction, and great discussion going on in the chat. Marianne Duam as well. Almost 500 of you here this evening. I'm astonished. For a Monday, that is amazing. So I wish I could keep reading down. There's so many kind of comments here. Thank you everyone for your contributions and for joining me this evening. And do you think I should do this a bit more? Come in with some solo lives now and again. But I hope you enjoyed the show. And of course, you will see me on Hadaiga. And I will definitely be doing more videos as well in the future. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks everyone so much. And bye-bye for now. Thank you for joining me.